Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's April 29th, and let's just do a end of the month full garden tour. So let's take a look at it. Well, here we go. We're out here in the new garden section. And let's see, we planted some sweet corn, and sure enough, don't we have some coming up. We're just doing all kinds of good down there. And let's see, our winter squash here hadn't quite taken hold. It's still a little yellow. I think it'll pick up here pretty quick and get used to that fertilizer. I need to come out here with some spinosad, looks like, and take care of my little ant piles. Spinosad is a good organic mixture for it's bacteria. Actually, I think it's either a fungus or a bacteria that from the fermenting process. It's probably a bacteria. But anyway, it's a natural one. As you can see here, we have some green beans starting to pop up. They're just kind of going crazy there. Of course, we have our one section here that's not planted. Down here where we have our glass gem corn, as you can see, it's popping its way up. And right over here we have our rows of purple hull peas. And as you can see, they're getting after it too. Well, just all kind of good stuff growing. Now over here, of course, this one piece of corn isn't going to come up without some help putting it back in the ground, but I don't see too much excitement. I got one little piece of corn coming up there, which is normally a good sign. Looks like a few other little ones, and looks like plenty of grass seeds. Of course, this hadn't been used in a long time. And up here, this is green beans too, and I'm starting to see a few of them popping up out of the ground. So won't be long, we'll have a really nice crop. Seems like it's faster on some than the others, but it shouldn't be long. We should have a good stand here. Our sweet potatoes, they looking like they're transitioning pretty well for being out here in the heat. A lot of times they kind of, if you looked at some past ones, a lot of times they'll seem to like they're going to die back, and then they'll just take off. But anyway, that's where we're sitting in the new garden. Let's go look at the main garden. Well, while we're going by the flower bed, we might as well take a look at some flowers. We have some roses. These were from my wife's grandma's rose bush, which she's been past for a while, but she's saved a cutting and well, a few, and then we split it, and we gave a lot of those. We had 15, ended up 3 plants to start, and ended up with 15 that we separated out, and we give away all but these 7 that's in here. So, or I say 8 that's in here. So we pass on the tradition. But a lot of these flowers, these ones here, were some that I planted from seeds. I can't recall the name when I need to. Starts with N. Of course, these are Sweet Williams, but they haven't started yet. And these pretty multicolored ones here are Impatiens. Those were also grown from seed. And then we have some cosmos down here. We got one of them starting to bloom. And we got plenty of grass off in here. This was just something that took the tiller and tilled it up and throwed a little compost and some mulch in, and this first year for it, which there are a lot of other bulbs that she'd moved over here too. So let's go look at the garden now. Well, we're almost to the garden. It'll be over here to the fruit tree, the pear tree, which I'm surprised it's got pears on it, but it does have a few, which is great. I kind of hacked it back pretty good. Okay, now we're out in the garden, and I believe these are my orange tomatoes, some of my orange ones that were just thrown out there. Actually, they're bigger than the ones that I planted because they got into the soil real quick. Now, these varieties of tomatoes in here, I don't know what they are. I know that they are starting to bloom. And I finally decided, I think this squash, the way it's coming out of here, is some type of winter squash. It has an awful lot of flowers on it, and it's looking like that it might be a red curry squash, but we'll see. It's kind of hard to tell. This here looks like, I don't know. I think maybe a zucchini, but it's kind of shaped wrong. But anyway, we'll keep monitoring them for those of you that might be interested. My ginger is looking mighty pale. I'm thinking it really needs some fertilizer. It is put in here real tight intentionally. Some of my tomatoes here, potatoes, they seem like they're stunted. Now, I got me a lizard running around off in here too, but the potatoes, I still haven't come back and put some more mulch around them, which is my intent. But we've kind of let them fend pretty much for themselves, so we haven't been putting a lot of water to them, and they seem to be doing okay. Okay, I guess we got to start somewhere. Let's start down here. Of course, our garlic, zoom out a little bit. Our garlic is this is the elephant garlic that's up here, and as it changes colors right down here past this is another variety of garlic. And then we've got our onions down there, and then at the very end some more garlic. But right in here we have our broccoli, and our broccoli's doing good. We've been harvesting a lot of heads out of here. It's starting to get kind of a little warmer weather, and so this broccoli, which is Green Magic, it seems like it opens up its heads a little bit earlier. I don't have any of the gypsy in the ground right now to compare, so I can't really say. Rutabagas are nice. We've got a few of them left, and of course our flowers. And let's just go ahead and go in here. Our spinach that's right here is just about, it's just getting to the size to pick the leaves. We hope this time that it don't end up like the last batch. Just about a week after it got that size, bugs come in, and we ended up we didn't have any sellable crop, so we just harvested it and put it up for ourselves. And this is some curly leaf mustard. It is pretty, but it's a little bitter, so which the other patch we've already cut out, and we're going to clip this off too. Let's go on in here to the greenhouse. We still have some plants we need to put out. We've got some banana peppers that we just started late, and we've got some jalapenos. Now, I planted some giant jalapenos, but I didn't plant any little ones. And I've got some dill starts there, so I need to get them out. And over here we've got a bunch of pablunos. We've got a few stray sugar rush and a pinata cayenne. And we better watch our little vines here. They're wanting to grab themselves a plant. Try to keep it encouraged to grow up, but we've got a few herbs here that need to be put out. And our cucumbers are seeming to do pretty nice. They're just now putting on some females. I don't know if we've got any pollination here, but we do have some of them that are starting to put on, and as you know, if they do pollinate, it doesn't take them long to start coming out. I have a couple of beans that's still not been put out, and here's our sweet potatoes, or our regular ones that we thought we had lost all our seed for it, and we didn't. And so these are coming along. It won't be just a few weeks, these will be ready to put out. They'll be a little later crop, but that'll be fine because we have a real long season. Now over here we have our cherry tomatoes, which these are roughly about 3.5, somewhere around 3.5, 4 foot tall. And I thought both of these were black cherries, but when they started putting on the tomatoes, I could tell this is a yellow pear. And of course this one is a black cherry. So, and it might not get as dark being in the greenhouse because this poly does cut a little bit of light down. We have some other varieties here. We have red snappers, and these are in here pretty tight. And hopefully they'll do okay. We'll just have to see. These are growing like weeds, and of course we try to keep them tied up, and if we have to, we can lean that plant further away. We have some black crims. We have some Cherokee purples. These tomatoes, you can see this one here, which is a black crim. We're already getting some small tomatoes on there, which is great. We're getting plenty of blooms in here. I always like to pull the flower off the bottom of the little, what's left of the flower off the bottom of them when I see them sticking to it. But anyway, we've got a bunch of little tomatoes coming on. We have some peppers. Now this first peppers here, these are not Impatiens, and the plants don't seem to be doing too well. They're really dark, but they don't seem to be getting any size, so we don't know what's up with that. These here are pretty and sweet peppers, and you can see we're getting loaded up with peppers on here. We'll see how that does. These actually, it says pretty and sweet, but they don't look like the other ones here, so maybe we got a strange pepper there. I don't know what that is. I know what I planted the seed. These habaneros down here, there's 2 of them. This is an old radicchio that's coming back. But they don't seem to like it either. They seem to go slower. This is a bell pepper, a large red one I had saved seeds from. I'm sure it's not going to be quite true to what it should be, but I'm going to see how it does. These are big green bell peppers right here. And then I've got a couple of varieties of eggplants. Now the one is already starting to bloom. It seems to be doing a little better than the others. Got just a little bit of bug damage on these. I don't know what it is with the eggplants, but that's kind of the deal. Now I have, as you can see, I've laid down my shelf over here, so they've got plenty of room to grow up. Now these here are our Brussels sprouts. These ones here were in the winter. We're gonna have to start stripping some leaves off. You can see where they got some sprouts in there. These are our purple Brussels sprouts. We're going to need to cut some leaves off there too. We'll get after that. And this is the new Brussels sprouts. Now I don't know if these will actually make before the heat. We'll see what's going on with it. We've got more broccoli. We've got few things trying to go to seed. I'm going to do a video on just the plants that's going to seed in here so we can see those. But we have a little bit of interest. Now, if you're going to save seeds, you don't want too brassy because it's going to be blooming at the same time, because what they'll do is chance of cross-pollination. We have a few cabbages left. Maybe we'll get part of these before they go to seed. Some of these are like this one here. It's starting to firm up some, so it might get picked. These are a few of the new ones. Some of them's done better than others, and that's just what happens out here. You can see over here our kale and our collards are doing good, and the flowers at the end. This is where our other curly leaf mustard was, and our red leaf mustard. She's chopped them, just laid them there. We'll come and do them up. We do have some turnips that's still coming on, but this will probably be our last batch because turnips don't like the heat. Now, I've got a little bit of insect damage. We found worms on one broccoli, and we've got a few holes here and there. Hopefully we're not going to have some big outbreak, but I've been trying to keep an eye on it. I know there's a bunch of little grasshoppers running around too. We did have, like I say, on the broccoli, we had a couple of leaves that were infested with some maybe cabbage loopers or something, so we took and dealt with that. Now this is some of our leek. This was intentionally planted real tight, so I'm going to see how this does. I'm wanting for more like a long harvest on this. Now we have cucumbers over here. As you can see, the ones that's out in the weather don't look near as pretty as the ones that's in the greenhouse. They are growing, which is great, but the ones in the greenhouse just look so much more healthy. Our onions here are doing great. Some of these are just going to be green onions, and then some of them will grow on up into bulbs. We've got some red onions in there, and some white onions, and then some more yellow onions. Now these young onions over here, I still have water on this row because the bottom, but this row here I've turned off the water. Some of the tops have started to fold over, and our onions are getting to be about 4 inches there. So, you know, some of them smaller, 2.5 to 4 inches or so. But you can see how the tops of them are kind of yellow and stuff. Once they start to do that, they're finished. I shut the water off, and then I'll let them dry a little bit. Then I'm going to pull them up. I doubt if I'll actually leave them out here. If we get a good day where we're going to have some heat and no rain for a few days, I'll lay them out here. Otherwise, I'll carry them in the shop and lay them out on a tarp so they can dry. We have our early peas here, English peas, green peas, whatever you want to call them. We have 2 varieties that separate right here. These will only be a short pea. They may be 2 foot tall, and these other ones will go to the top. Now they've both been blooming. I haven't spotted any pea pods yet, but I believe both of these were snow peas. And the reason why I did that this year was I wanted a pea that would have a tender pod. So if we want to do pods for stir fry, snow peas are what you want. Our green beans, as you can see, they're good and healthy, and they've got some signs that they're starting to get ready to bud, so it won't be long we'll have some green beans on there. Our purple hull peas over here, as you can see, we've got some rust. I'm going to mix up a fungicide. It's going to be a natural fungicide. In fact, I'll do a video on that so we can spray these. We're going to use it on some of our other things out here. Now we've got a little bit of bug damage that's going on here with our okra. It's looking like it's not real happy, but okra likes the heat, so we haven't got into its time. We do have zucchini starting to form. Won't be long. We'll be picking some little zucchinis off of here. Our lettuce is getting ready. We'll pick it tomorrow, get it ready for the farmer's market. There are some radishes at the end, but they are pretty much spent, so that those will be dug up and replanted or something. This is the only empty bed in the garden right now, is this bed here, except for a leftover cabbage. Now let's get back over here. This is our other leek. This is spread out more. It should come on earlier than the other. It's starting to get a little bit of size on it, so it won't be long. I'll keep pouring the water to it and probably fertilize it again with some chicken litter and see if we can't get in on up. We have a little bit of cilantro, which we should be cutting a little bit for the market this week. These onions these carrots are doing good. They do need weeded, so I'm going to have to get in here and clean that out, because if they get much bigger, it's not going to be possible to do it. And maybe even do some thinning while I'm in there. These beets are they're growing. They just don't do real good. For me, they don't. I think they like cooler weather, which I can understand that. You know, some of them are small and they seem to stay small, even though they have water and fertilizer. Now I do have some, right here I have some butter crunch lettuce, which is just, it's going to have to be taken out. Looks like it's going to seed now, but it ended up with bugs in it. And when you get aphids in your lettuce, I mean, if you have it on leaf lettuce, you can always, when you wash it, you can put a little bit of vinegar in there and you can clean those off. But when they're in a head lettuce like that, you can't get them out. So it's just kind of a wasted crop. Over here we have weeds for one, and we have a few little watermelons. Maybe they'll hang in there and come on out, and we have a little bit of our cabbage or Brussels sprouts or cauliflower, whatever was here, is trying to grow back. Down here we have some more zucchini squash, and it's still a little young. It's getting up there though. It's take a little while. We've been harvesting out the last of these small heads of cabbage out of here. This row here will be where we'll put some of those peppers that's in the greenhouse. We've actually planted these 3 wide, and this row is peppers and eggplants, which these eggplants are going to be kind of stuffed in here once they get bigger, but they'll just have to like it or learn to like it. Our potatoes are doing good. These are Yukon Golds down at the flag and down to the end. That's where the reds start, and these are reds in here. Now this one over here, these are Yukon Golds too, but it's kind of funny. These were planted 10 days after the other ones over here, and they're actually a lot bigger. Now these little ones here, that's the same as those ones, these were the little shriveled up potatoes that I put in the ground when I showed that, planting those. Now these others over here, these were planted whole potatoes. The Yukon Golds over here were planted cut potatoes because I didn't want a whole lot of eyes coming up at one place, and then the potatoes would be smaller. So, but over here I did want that because I want these for new potatoes. This is the same with these red ones. They were planted whole potatoes. So we'll see how that goes. Now, these things are occasionally, they're flowering. Whenever I catch one flowering, I just snap this flower top out. It's kind of like this right here. I just pop it off. We want our potatoes to focus on growing potatoes, not putting out seeds on top. We don't plant potato seeds around here. This is zipper cream peas. They've got a little bit of rust on them too. Looks like they might be overcoming it. Excuse me. Over here, we have some large leaf Italian parsley that's thrown in here. And then we have some more tomatoes. Now, I haven't counted up what I have now, but I think I'm setting a little bit over 300 tomatoes, which is way more tomatoes than I probably want to pick, but you know, the more the merrier. Now over here, these carrots, we have different types. We have some orange, well, I say orange, there are some red ones and a couple of varieties of purple, some purple haze, and then another purple one, which was here that went to seed, which these seed tops are a good 4 or 5 foot now, and they're really beautiful. I mean, I hope they get pollinated good. I'm going to save seeds off of these, and then we'll pull them up and put something else in there. Now these carrots down here, the majority of these are tender sweet. Now there are a few, and you can kind of see, or I can see, you might not can see on the video, that are a little bit the first ones that were some Denver half-longs that I planted, and they, I'm hitting buttons there, but they were some Denver half-longs that I planted, and you can kind of maybe see a little bit of a darker shade for them. Now over here we have a red onions. Now red onions don't get quite as large as, well, I say, I don't appear that they do. Now, and one thing about red onions too, any onion, of course these are not quite as sweet, but they don't have a long storage life, and usually to have an extended storage life, the smaller this neck is on an onion, normally it stores longer. In here are Roma tomatoes, and they're blooming up a storm, and we're starting to set little tomatoes on here. They're usually pretty easy to spot. There's a couple right there. There's another in there. And we have two kinds. We have a San Marzano, I think. I'm guessing I said that right. And then an Amish paste. We're trying each kind, see which kind's the best, and then we'll decide from there. But we have more coming on up here. Here's another variety of tomatoes. On that row, some more right here, and of course some more right here. The ones that's down here a little bit are blooming up good. Then we get into our sweet peppers right here, and over here, of course, our strawberries. We've cleaned them up a little bit. We'll be trying the homemade fungicide on this leaf spot too, which is a fungus. I don't know how great it'll work. We'll find out. We have we've trimmed off a lot of leaves. That's kind of the way we keep it kind of into check. But we'll spray these, see if we can't get it under control, see how well that works. But I have potted up what the last of the runners that I'm going to. We'll start clipping off any new ones now, because right now in my rows I have between there what I've got potted up right now, and I've started a row over here by the fence, which I'll show in just a minute. But I've got about 300 plants now, and 300 should be good. It still doesn't keep me from running out quick at the farmer's market, but it'll give me a few more to carry there, and so I'll have plenty for myself. Let's see, let's go on down here. We can show, yeah, we put this drip line in here, and we'll probably double row these. We've got them kind of close, but we'll probably put some on the other side too once we do this up. Our blueberries are doing good, but the freeze has kind of got them. We might get a berry or two just to taste, but that's going to be it. Our Roselle hibiscus is not looking pretty, but it's coming on. It'll recover and come on up, and then we've got our ground cherries there. Now these here, these are cherry tomatoes. Down at this end, our hot peppers are in here. We're starting to get a lot of little peppers forming on these hot pepper plants. We're fixing to have to stake some of them. We have some red cherries, and we have some black cherries over here. And then we have a bunch of different kinds of peppers here. You can see them coming on now. I'm not sure if that's the Sugar Rush or that could be the Hungarian Hot Wax, looks like maybe. But and now we're getting a little bit of rain. But anyway, these are doing good. Okay, lots of noise here in the greenhouse. I hope you can hear me fine. Of course, I love the rain. It's always good to have natural moisture. Even though we are on a well, rainwater is always the best. While we're in here kind of waiting for things to calm down, we actually have a new project that we've scheduled. We've ordered us a new greenhouse, or a high tunnel, a Gothic high tunnel. And we're going to put it up right here at the edge of this, and it's going to go down here a good ways down and then across. It's going to be 30 by 48. So it'll give us a lot of area inside for growing, because as you can see, certain vegetables just do so much better when they're just watered from the ground. Okay, let's see, where was we? Now we're up here to our yellow squash. We pulled a few of these today. We'll pull a few more tomorrow for the farmer's market. And like I say, the eggplants here, they're doing okay. The bugs are trying to mess with them. We have our other garlic over here. And we have our chard. We've been cutting this every week. So, and here's our fennel. Nice, good, healthy plants down there. Looks like I've been talking about stuff going to seed. And if you want to know what a fennel looks like when it goes to seed, this is what it looks like. And this other row, the other end of the tomato row, these here are true black Brandywine. I've got a lot of black tomatoes this year. I've got them at all stages because I started some. I've had the greenhouse loaded up so many times, as many of you all have noticed. We was talking about the habanetas in the greenhouse, and you can see these ones out here are mighty small too. I don't know, this is my first year in growing them. And here's my second batch of leaf lettuce. It's starting to take hold now. We've been picking this every week, so keep up with demand. Along this fence here, I run me a row of cucumbers here, about 40 feet maybe, 45. Anyway, these are divas. It's kind of a, you could say a pickler or a slicer. It makes a good pickling size, because they'll get large enough that in a quart jar you can just kind of clip the ends and make pickle spears. Now our beans, look like the bugs are trying to mess with a lot of them. These are yard long beans, and from Baker Creek, and hopefully you can go ahead and grab hold. Here's where we took out our onions, and we just put these back in, and we took out what was left of the row that was going to seed, and we'll dry them the same way. Now, of course, and we can't miss our flowers that's out here. We have one variety of carrots here. Most of these will be just for seeds. But I was kind of like my beets over here. Of course, I don't know how woody these will be. These are going to be for seeds, but you can see these beets here are they're a good 4-inch in diameter. But I would guess they might be woody. I don't know, I'd just have to see, because we pick them kind of small to where you can just cut them up, eat them raw in salads, or cook them either way. And then we've got definitely a grass problem or a weed problem here in our lettuce. We've got to get on top of this before it gets much more out of control. And our last but not least, we're over here. We have more stuff going to seed. This is our parsley that we planted last winter. It's seeding out. We have our asparagus. All these down here I planted from seed. They seem to be doing pretty good. These here from roots. We bought this center row here. There's supposed to be I think 3 more that hadn't come up. They might not come up. We did put a marigold at the edge, and this is starting to bloom. Over here we have plenty of fungi. If I knew what kind they were, I'd probably eat them, but if not. But we have oregano. We have a few white onions there. I thought about just letting go to seed, because out of all my Spanish whites, that was all that germinated out of that batch, or that made it to seedling size. So you have a few garlics that got in here. There's elephant garlics when we move the bed. Our chives are looking nice. We've been cutting some of these every week. And we have our thyme down here. As you know, everybody could use some thyme, so we're going to take that fungi out of there. It don't need to be in there. But we've been cutting a little bit every week and taking it to the market. In amongst here, of course, I got a few pieces of grass, but that is some holy basil that's planted in there. But anyway, that's where we're sitting. And like I say, the new project for the greenhouse will actually start right here. It'll go almost to that greenhouse, and then it'll go 48 feet down that way. So it'll take it in about a little over half the distance from here to there. So anyway, that's the way it's going. Like I say, the lettuce was going to seed too. You can tell when lettuce goes to seed, because when it starts stretching out, it's fixing to pop a seed top off. Anyway, if you want to see more of these, as always, hit that subscribe, hit the bell button. If you like it, give it a big thumbs up, and share it if you find it useful for someone else. Happy gardening.